Another way to say this is we've been so fully metabolized into this globalized corporate economy that it has now become blasphemy to speak against it. There's something going on that I don't really understand. At one point, the left was against globalization. And when Bill Clinton helped shepherd through NAFTA, this was considered a terrible betrayal of everything that the left stood for, and a betrayal of American workers, a betrayal of many other things. And then there was the battle in Seattle, was anti-globalization, and there were many fights against globalization. And now let's fast forward to today, and okay, I'll just get this disclaimer out of the way. I hate Trump. I can't stand Trump. I think Trump is dreadful. But now that Trump is withdrawing from TPP, he's installing tariffs, he wants to renegotiate NAFTA, the lefties are hating on Trump for this. And I don't really understand. So I see a few possibilities. I want to say one more thing before I go with the possibilities. Also, I just today saw a video talking about how Bill Clinton was a great president, and the first argument they made in favor of him being a great president was signing NAFTA, which in 1995 would have been one of the first arguments against Bill Clinton being a great president. It would be for him being a pro-corporate, anti-worker, I mean, there were arguments being floated on the left that those who were signing agreements like NAFTA were committing treason because they were putting corporate interests above the interests of the United States. And so I don't really understand. I understand why Trump is hated. I don't understand why he is hated for that. And I see a few possibilities. One possibility is that Trump is hated, and the way politics works, there is absolutely no subtlety whatsoever. So if you hate someone, you have to hate every single thing they do. And so Trump is terrible on a wide variety of issues, which means that Trump also caused the Black Death, he caused the collapse of the Roman Empire, or he caused the rise of the Roman Empire, if you hate the Roman Empire. He caused the crops to fail. He made it so the milk went dry. He made it so, he is responsible for every single problem in the world. That's one possibility, because truly our public discourse, I don't think there are many people who would label public discourse as being either sophisticated or subtle. So that's one possibility. Second possibility is that this is a measure of how far discourse in general has shifted to the right. And what used to be a sort of mainstream lefty position of globalization is harmful to, for example, American workers, has what was a standard left position has everything has shifted so far to the right that position is now pretty much inconceivable on the left. Another way to say this is we've been so fully metabolized into this globalized corporate economy that it has now become blasphemy to speak against it. Another possibility is what Lewis Mumford talked about with the magnificent bribe. That, back years ago, decades ago now, Wes Jackson said to me that the only thing keeping Walmart was the only thing keeping the United States from having a revolution, because the lower middle class needs their cheap consumables. And Lewis Mumford talked about the magnificent bribe, that why do we put up with this system? It's because we are bribed by getting access to all of these goodies. And so is it that the left has been bought off? Because the truth is that globalization has very much dropped the price of computers. It's very much dropped the price of clothing. It's very much dropped the price of so many of our consumer goods that we can now buy a good laptop for a couple, $300. And if you remember back in 1995, a good desktop is going to run you a couple thousand, 1,500 at least, 1,200 at very least. I remember at one point, a friend of mine bought me a computer. I had to pay him back, but it was $1,000 for pretty much lower middle of the line. And so is that it? Is that why we're against, why we are now, why being against globalization in any way, putting up tariffs, is that why this is now blasphemy? Is because it could possibly harm our access to goodies? Or another possibility is that we don't like disruption, and we didn't like the disruption that was caused with the flight of industry away from the United States. But now we have grown accustomed to this new normal, which is the industry is no longer in the United States, but hot damn, TVs are cheap. And we are afraid of any disruption of the new normal. So if someone, or here's another possibility, that we are all so completely subsumed into the system that we worship the global economy and we identify with the global economy such that anything that harms the global economy we perceive as harming us. I don't know. This is not a video that's going to end with an answer, because I just have questions about this. I don't understand why the left hated Bill Clinton for pushing NAFTA, and now it seems the left, in great measure, hates Trump for putting in tariffs and withdrawing from trade agreements.